is going on, everyone? We are back in our Bears franchise in Madden 17, and today, fresh off of our latest Super Bowl victory, we take a look back at season number 4, maybe the best season in this franchise, as we'll take a final look at the stats, award winners. We'll hand out our team awards, and then at the end of the video, there's a very important little update I need to give, so make sure you stick around for that. First up, the player stats. Zach Dudley. The stats aren't going to look super great for him this year, but man, what a season for him. 2,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Mike Glennon, in comparison, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He played the first 7 games of the season. I think they're thereabouts. Not a good year for him. Running game, Melvin Gordon, another good year, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. The other guys didn't get a lot of looks as, man, Melvin Gordon, a absolute workhorse. Tyreek Hill leads us, 68 for 1,000 yards. Alshon Jeffrey just missed out on 1,000 yards. He did very good as well, 67 catches, 989. Melvin Gordon, his best receiving year in his career, 545. Braverman had 40 catches, Higbee with 27, Bray with 18. A lot of guys catching balls this season. On defense, Voorhees Greg leads us, the only guy over 100 tackles with 103. Houston Carson behind him at 94. Phillip Gaines, surprised with 80 tackles. Blink Craig is going to have 71. And Henry Lacy, the rookie, with 88. Pernell McPhee leads us with 19 tackles for loss. Leonard Floyd with 16. Henry Lacy, the rookie, with 12. Voorhees Greg with 11. And Salisbury with 10. Sacks, it's the rookie Kevin Alonso leading us with 13 sacks. I could not believe he led us in sacks, as McPhee with 12.5, Leonard Floyd with 11.5, and Cecil Rudd with 11. And then interceptions, Malik Craig, who had really one big game. I think he had 3 interceptions in that game. That catapults him to first. Kyle Fuller with 4, Phillip Gaines with 3, Salisbury with 2, and then Lacy, Carson, and Potter with 1. For the return game, Tyreek Hill is going to add another 1,500 yards, 1,000 from kickoffs, 520 from punts, and also adds 1 return TD. Now looking around the league, Dak Prescott's going to lead everybody with 47, almost 4,800 yards. It's going to be a rookie, the Saints, Nick Tomczak, who is 30 yards, first in touchdowns, 34 touchdowns for him. Mariota, 33 and 7, which is very good. Andy Dalton, 30 and 7. We already talked about him last week. Alex Smith on the bad list, 24 interceptions. Brett Hundley is going to have 19, and Jared Goff with 18. Matthew Stafford with 17. Aaron Rodgers had 16 interceptions, so not a good year for him. Melvin Gordon leads the league in rushing, 1549. He beats out Ezekiel Elliott, and he's also going to add 15 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson, the old-timer, up there as well. And then Jeremy Langford, we already mentioned this. He led the league in touchdowns with 17. Elliott with 16. And then Melvin Gordon tied with TJ Yeldon at 15. Receiving, Dez Bryant, way out above everybody, almost 300 yards in front of Julian Edelman, 1,600 yards. What a year for Dez Bryant, and what a year for former Bears, as Marquise Lee leads the league in receiving touchdowns with 15, Dancer with 13, tied with Jordan Reed of the Redskins. On defense, Navarro Bowman leads the league with 153, beating out Jalen Smith. It's Muhammad Wilkerson with 22 tackles for loss, Brandon Williams with 21, Derek Wolfe with 20 sacks. It is going to be 20.5 for Robert Quinn. He beats easily Jarrell Casey with 17, and Joey Bosa with 16.5. And then interceptions, the lead is going to go to Marcus Peters of the Chiefs with 9, Patrick Peterson with 8, and Bobby Wagner, the middle linebacker, with 7. Now a quick look at the team stats, and these are pretty good. Now the offensive yards, 30th. That's not surprising with how bad we started, but first in defensive yards, I think once again, maybe for the 3rd straight year, we're going to be 10th in points scored, which isn't too bad. And then we just missed out here, 2nd in points allowed, which a little bit disappointed we weren't able to finish first in both of those. Russell Wilson, I previously mentioned, won MVP. He beat out Melvin Gordon, which most likely because we kind of sat him for the final game of the regular season. Dan Quinn wins Coach of the Year, beating Trey Cash. Unfortunate there, as that we finished with similar records. Again, that loss to the Panthers in Week 17 probably going to kill us there. Melvin Gordon does earn Offensive Player of the Year. Bobby Wagner is going to beat his teammate KJ Wright for Defensive Player of the Year. And the Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to go to Nick Tomczak. No surprise there. 3rd in passing yards, 1st in touchdowns. That's an easy one to hand out. On defense, though, I'm calling an absolute upset here. Madison Nugent beats out Kevin Alonso. I can't recall his numbers exactly, but they were not as good. Kevin Alonso had 13 sacks. Henry Lacy is going to finish 5th. That's a bit unfortunate there, as we're not able to get Alonso that Rookie of the Year. Tomczak going to win Best QB. Beats out Dak Prescott, which I'm surprised at that, because Prescott led the league in passing yards and was very close in touchdowns. Zach Dudley ends up finishing 7th. Melvin Gordon beats out Ezekiel Elliott for best running back. No surprise there, as I think he's won that for the last 3 years. Dez Bryant easily wins best wide receiver. Alshon Jeffrey there in 3rd. Tyreek Hill in 4th. Nice to see the 2 up there at the top of that list. Tyron Smith is going to win best lineman, beating out his teammate Putsier. Surprised to see the center in 3rd there, as Lyle Collins is going to finish 6th. He's normally the guy that finishes towards the top top of that list. Robert Quinn, no surprise, at best defensive lineman. I don't think we're going to have anybody on that list. And then best linebacker, it's two Seahawks. Wagner, again, beating out his teammate KJ Wright. And again, we had no one on that list either. Patrick Peterson beats out his own teammate, Tyrann Mathieu. Malik Craig is going to finish 5th in that list. And then best kicker is going to go to a Seahawk again as he beats out Josh Lambo. Unfortunate. Lambo had a very good year. I think he only missed 3 kicks all season. For the AFC, very quickly through these, Mariota wins Offensive Player of the Year. Zach Asper wins Defensive Player of the Year. It's going to be Blaylock of the Jaguars winning Rookie of the Year on offense. Arsenault on defense for Rookie of the Year. Best quarterback will go to Marcus Mariota, beating out Andy Dalton. Maurice Bond, the second-year running back, beats out Adrian Peterson for best running back. Marquise Lee, the former Bear, wins best wide receiver. That's ridiculous. Offensive lineman goes to Tyler McAllister of the Bengals. Best defensive lineman is going to go to Joey Bosa, who I think, 16.5 sacks for him. Justin Houston is going to win best linebacker. And then Marcus Peters, no surprise, wins best DB. Justin Tucker wins best kicker. And with that, now it is time to hand out our awards. So as you know, every year we hand out Most Improved Player, Rookie of the Year, Offensive MVP, Defensive MVP, and then Team MVP. So the first award coming is going to be Most Improved Player. And this one was a hard one to pick. Now, in the last couple years, it has been Tyreek Hill last year, Kyle Fuller the year before, and then Tony Lippett season 1. And this year, I'm going to give it to Alshon Jeffrey, and that is because this man he's had some rough times here, as in the last couple years, he's dealt with injuries, had 358 yards 2 seasons ago, followed that up with 723 last year, but explodes this year. As he's getting older, his attributes are dropping, but 67 catches improves it to 989 yards, and also has 11 touchdowns. A very, very good season from him. Next up, Rookie of the Year. This one was very easy to hand out. Here's the previous winners: Malik Craig, Zach Dudley, Leonard Floyd. This year, Kevin Alonso. Absolutely. The only other guy that was maybe there was Henry Lacy, but on defense, both guys being on defense. Alonso, being a member of what is probably the best defensive line in the league, led the team in sacks. So you cannot deny him Rookie of the Year. That's going to go to Kevin Alonso. Next up is going to be Offensive Player of the Year. This is another one that was a bit difficult, but really when you think about it, it's not too hard to hand out. Now the previous winners are going to be Jeremy Langford season 1, Melvin Gordon season 2, Tyreek Hill last year, and this year it's Melvin Gordon. 1,500 yards. He improved on last year's numbers. Now he is going to tie for his career high of 15 touchdowns, but really sets him apart this year, on top of having 5.2 yards per carry on average, besting it by 0.4 his previous 2 seasons, but 543 yards receiving, 43 receptions, 5 touchdowns, sets career highs for yards and touchdowns, so it's altogether 2,000 total yards for Melvin Gordon. He's going to be Offensive MVP. On defense, this was the hardest award to hand out. I think it is every single season, and you might disagree with my choice, but previous seasons, Danny Trevathan and then Kyle Fuller last year's. Kyle Fuller had a bit of a down year. I'm going to give it to Voorhees Greg. Now, hear me out here as to why I'm going to give it to him. He led the team in tackles with 103. Now, he only had 11 tackles for loss, only 1 sack, the first of his career, and he did not have any interceptions. I was very close to giving it to Kevin Alonso, who led the team in sacks and really was a standout guy this year. But Voorhees Greg, on top of those numbers, also, I believe, is going to have 4 forced fumbles. But the most important thing to look at here, with that 756 downs played, he played the most downs of any player on the team, which I'm fairly certain he played every single down on defense. This man is an absolute rock in our defense. We would not be the same without him. So maybe a bit of a cumulative award because he's been very good the last couple years, but he's going to be MVP of the defense. Now time for Team MVP, Most Valuable Player last couple seasons: Alshon Jeffrey, Melvin Gordon, Tyreek Hill. And then our weekly MVP, which we take into account here in this. Not as many guys winning it this year as last year. All the injuries last year, we had like 10 guys winning at least one time. But at the top, you see Melvin Gordon, Zach Dudley with 4 wins, and it was very hard to pick between those two, but at the end of the day, I could not deny Zach Dudley MVP. We were 4-3 when he came back in week 8, and we did not lose a game until the final week of the season. Now, the yards aren't flashy, 2,300, but the touchdowns and interceptions actually are pretty good for a guy that only played part of the season. 20 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. Now, in comparison, that 2018 season, I think he played 2 games, and he had 4 picks. He also had 70 completion percentage, his best in his career, so very easily, I think we give him the MVP because there is no way we would have made it that far with Mike Glennon at QB for the entire season. But that's going to bring us to the end of the awards ceremony. And now, I said I was going to have something at the end of the episode, but actually kind of fits perfectly to put that here. Now, if you maybe notice something a bit odd about the title of this episode, it is really unfortunate, but this is going to be the final episode of the Bears franchise. Now, if you have followed the channel here, in the last couple months. I used to upload every day. We had multiple series going on. Recently, in the last few weeks, I had to scale that down to the point where we were only doing the Bears franchise, and I wanted to still be able to upload maybe 2 to 3 videos a week, but honestly, it's been tough for me to even get one up a week, let alone 2, which I've kind of failed to do the last couple weeks. But basically, it just comes down to real life has kind of gotten in the way, been a lot more busy, not able to turn out the content like I've wanted to, and unfortunately, in the last few weeks, it has not really improved at all. So rather than continue to do these one-by-ones to where now seasons would take a very long time, I don't want it. I feel like that is a disservice to you as the viewer, so I'm making the tough decision to end it here. Now, I don't want to say necessarily that this is the end of forever of this YouTube channel, because I really enjoy making these videos. The whole process is a ton of fun, but unfortunately, with this channel, which I've been doing, I've lost track at this point, 3-4 years, I think now, and I think over 2,000 videos that I've put out in total. But over that time, unfortunately, things never really took off. So at a point now where that trade-off of the time you have to invest, it's not easy or quick process to make these videos, to record them and then edit and do the voiceover and all that stuff. And it's just essentially the juice isn't necessarily worth the squeeze, with especially other things going on in the real life that obviously take precedent over this at the end of the day. So unfortunate, very, very sad end to this franchise. I'm really hoping to get this one through more seasons than last year. I think we made it 5 seasons last year. I was hoping to maybe do 6 leading into Madden 18. Now, as I said, don't want to necessarily say this is the end of the channel. I'm at least going to take time off here until Madden 18 comes out, which already some things coming out with that looking very, very good. So we'll have to see what things look like at that point. But for now, we'll be taking a little bit of a hiatus. Now, the episode not done yet. Considering this is now the final episode of the Bears franchise, I wanted to stop and take a final look at the career of some of our players, the career of Trey Cash, our coach, and wrap up some little things here. So first off, taking a look at the career stats, and the man there, Zach Dudley, maybe probably the savior of this franchise. We had Jay Cutler season 1. He was awful. We missed the playoffs. We draft Zach Dudley, and while he has had his issues, obviously injuries and interceptions, 25 interceptions, still this man has led us to places that we could only have dreamed of. 47 touchdowns, 7,000 yards, not bad for him. Melvin Gordon, maybe 1A, 1B for the saviors. Melvin Gordon was a huge pickup for us. We traded for him early in the franchise. He gets 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns as well. Marquise Forrest in just a couple years, just 251 yards. Never really got any opportunities because Melvin Gordon doesn't get hurt, and he's able to run the ball a lot every game. Now, receiving, Alshon Jeffrey had a lot of these yards before we started this franchise, but 6,800 yards, he's well above. Tyreek Hill finishes second with 1,900, just short of 2,000. Does have 17 touchdowns. Daniel Braverman, 1,605 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon, 14, almost 1,511 touchdowns. Cameron Brate, almost 1,000 yards. Now, on defense, it's going to be Pernell McPhee with 460. Again, another guy had most of those before we started this one. Kyle Fuller, 412. Philip Gaines. Voorhees Greg, though, just misses out on 300 tackles as he spent his entire career with us here in this franchise. It's going to be Pernell McPhee with 67 tackles for loss. Leonard Floyd, 49. He basically, he was a rookie when we started, so not bad for him. And he's actually going to add 49.5 sacks, so just misses out there. Cecil Rudd, 32.5 sacks. Very, very good. Kyle Fuller, 28 interceptions, well out in front there. Malik Craig, 9. Voorhees Greg with 4, Salisbury with 2. And then looking at the coach results, Trey with those 2 Super Bowl wins vaults him right up there in the upper echelon of the coaches in the league here, as I'm not sure what, I think he's maybe like 8th or 9th. Mike Tomlin, Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Mike McCarthy right up there, just in front of Gary Kubiak, Ron Rivera, Dan Quinn, so not bad for Trey. 2 Super Bowls, 2 championships. We go 49-22 across our 4 seasons. That's going to be 3 winning seasons. We had the 1 losing season in the first year of the franchise. We are going to be 6-1 in the playoffs. Not a bad record at all for us there. 85 win percentage. And then most importantly, it was 2 Super Bowl appearances in 2 Super Bowl victories. Unfortunate we didn't get to play maybe another team this year, as it's the Bengals again. But at the end of the day, I will take the Super Bowl victories all day. 2 on the hand. and that is going to be 2 for the entirety of this franchise as we bring it to an end. Again, unfortunate the way this one has to end. Apologize to all you that enjoy watching these videos. But I do appreciate the support that all of you have given me in this franchise, as well as any other franchise and any other series I've done on my channel. Still blows me away that even one person enjoys it, let alone the many that continuously come back and show the support and show the love on the channel. And I really do appreciate that, and I thank each and every one of you. Now, I don't know if the normal sign-off is the appropriate one to use in this situation, but we'll roll with it anyways. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like. I would really, really, truly appreciate it. And hopefully this is not a goodbye, so I will sign off with a thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.